and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome everybody to Sports Unfolded, episode 6. Really excited to be here tonight. Got some great topics to cover. If you haven't watched the show before, we are a sports talk show. We do debate on certain topics. We discuss a lot of different things. We do try live interviews, which we will have tonight for you. But we'll start off with our leadoff story. So the NBA trade deadline ended at 3 p.m. on Thursday. And we kind of looked at who we felt was like the biggest winners and losers of the entire trade deadline. And I started off, so Nikolai Volkov to the Bulls.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, what is it going to do?
So I thought it was a good boost. They're in that 9-10 spot. I think it at least keeps them in the playoff hunt for that playoff play-in game as they want to. So let's just look at again, they got Zach LaVine, who's an up-and-coming star. So I think that it was a good move. What about Aaron Gordon and Javel McGee to Denver?
I mean, to me, that's got to be the biggest win.
I think that was the best move. I think Denver won.
They got the best. They got the best player moved, I think.
Yeah. So Aaron Gordon is probably their fourth best option now offensively. He's a great defensive player. It gives them an opportunity. It gives him an opportunity to just play defense,
right?
Not be the scoring option. And then if he can chip in 15 points a game, guess what? That's a win for Denver.
This is the team that could give Lakers the biggest problem.
Absolutely. I agree. Evan Fournier to Boston. This is a sensitive one as we're local and we're covering the Boston Celtics. I like the move.
Yay. It's good.
But I don't,
What's it gonna do?
It doesn't really move the needle too much. No. I mean, it might get them a spot or two.
Look where they are. Like, what is it going to get them?
2 games below 500. Just doesn't look like, that energy. The other night we were talking during the game and watching it, and it took them basically, to the fourth quarter to decide to wake up and decide they were going to play. And, they're going to continue to lose games if that continues to happen. So regardless of who you pick up.
Like, I feel that them seems to be getting better. Even if they didn't make a move, it's almost like they were better. And I don't know. It's just so disappointing on how they're playing this year. And I don't feel like they injected anything that's going to make them play better.
And the one guy that they get rid of Daniel Tice as a salary dump to make sure they could be under the luxury tax. Disappointed because Tice was probably one of those players where, again, good role player, seemed to do things well for them, had the best shooting percentage in the fourth quarter, which
is sad.
Struggled. Yes, when you got Tatum Brown,
but you still
Kemba
don't
Walker.
Get rid of your best in anything, really.
I think that move's going to hurt them more than this even picking up Fournier.
Tice.
So.
I thought, what he injected into the team, it was something that they need. And like, I can see him as a guy coming off the bench. Like, I mean, he's not a starter, but he's one of those key guys that when he comes off the bench, it seems like it kind of gives him a little jolt.
Spots some kind of energy, he's got hustle in him. George Hill to the Sixers. So speaking of teams above Boston, like the move, veteran move. Doc is doing great things up there in Philadelphia.
Like, how can you argue with the 76ers are doing? I mean, really?
So, and with Embiid out, again, George Hill obviously doesn't match the size-wise, but at least gives him another quality player till Embiid gets back. So I think that was a really good move. That might help them win the East. I'm not saying it overly puts them over the top because Milwaukee's still a very strong team. They picked up PJ Tucker and Brooklyn. Obviously, if they don't get players back, which is totally possible, that might be the only hope for the league. Really, to be honest with you, if
if they don't get players back, that ultimately be their demise.
Yes. Norman Powell to the Blazers. So this was a sneaky one for me. I didn't realize Norman Powell's averaging 19.6 points a game. 50%.
That was a surprise to me too.
50% shooting percentage, 43, almost 44% from three.
He's got great
so you
numbers.
Dame Lillard, McCollum, they're a very sneaky team in the West.
Yeah.
If they get hot at the right time, again, the West is there to be taken. I mean, LA is starting to struggle with the injuries. So you could see between Denver and them possibly pushing the Lakers out.
See, I feel that the Lakers could be had, especially, again, health. LeBron's getting older. You know, I mean, he's had problems in the past with cramping and stuff like that. So his body can take enough of a beating where it affects him down the stretch, and it is.
So he's played a lot of basketball.
You got some of these teams in the West that could really do some damage, and Dallas is another one who made a move.
Yeah, JJ Reddick to Dallas.
That's a good pickup.
Yeah, not having his best year shooting, but again, you don't forget how to shoot, and I think with that team around him, it's a good opportunity. I mean, Luka's a stud.
Oh my God, he's so good.
So I love that move. Rajon Rondo to Atlanta. They traded Lou Williams. They basically did a swap. This one kind of baffled me a little bit. I don't know what the Clippers were expecting to get. I know Rondo in the past has been, one of those quality players. He's only averaging 3.9 and 3 assists, a little over 3 assists.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at his past, like when he was with the Celtics and playoff time, like he was great in the playoffs, but he's not that player anymore.
I think that's what they're looking for. They stumbled last offseason in the playoffs, not making to the finals. So
leadership.
So I think that's what they did. I don't know how much of an upgrade or how much better that's
you never
be.
know what's going to happen with players that get moved. I mean, it could be the spark the team needs, not necessarily the player. Or it could be, hey, maybe we'll catch fire with this player and he'll do something. And that might be the case with Rondo. I mean, it's possible. I mean,
we'll have to see. Victor Oladipo to Miami.
I actually like that. I mean, hey, like, you're improving, a smidge in where you are in the standings. But players that come in, again, if they do catch fire, like you could see Miami make a run.
Yeah, Miami made a run last season.
Right.
They got hot at the right time. So again, this move could be the move that actually helps them get hot again. It
actually might instill some confidence in the teams, so that way, like, oh my God, Riley believes in us, and that confidence boost could mean a lot. And I think with this team, I think that's a pretty good pickup for them.
So overall, I mean, we discussed some of the main trades. Who is your winner?
I have to say Denver because of Gordon.
Yeah, I agree. Denver.
I mean, because now they can actually beat the Lakers.
Yes.
And that's huge in my book, because I still think it's the Lakers going to the championship, but Denver could be that team that could derail it.
They could.
And I don't see any other team that can, but I think that team can.
And do you have a loser out of this?
I have to say it's the Celtics.
We agree on both of these. I really thought they were going to do something a little more, or even again sell more. If you're kind of where you're at, get rid of some pieces that are causing you some problems.
To me, they lost on 2 points. First of all, they lost because they really didn't go out and make the team better. And if you weren't going to do that, then you should have traded,
some pieces,
and got some pieces to kind of a half rebuild. Like I would have traded either Tatum or Brown to get something back.
Tatum.
Right. That's who,
No, great.
At Jason Tatum.
No. So that was the NBA trade deadline. So since we're talking basketball, I think we're going to go over to the Dr. Fix-It hotline, where we're going to be joined by Mark Gaffney, who's the head coach of the Providence Pirates. We try to get Mark on the line.
All right, I'm on.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
How are you, Mark?
I'm doing well. Better than after I saw you guys last night.
Yeah. Long time no see. have you on tonight. Obviously for the fans to get to know you, how did you get into coaching, Mark?
I had a decent career as a high school player at Dartmouth High School, and then I played at Bridgewater State. And then I realized I couldn't play anymore after college. So I loved the game. So I just started learning and became a great student of the game, and got into college and worked my way up to Division I, and then wanted to get some head coaching experience. So I took a high-level high school job in Ohio. And then I wanted to get back into college, and, bounced around at a bunch of different small colleges. But I found a great teaching job at Dartmouth High School and was able to, coach college basketball till my relationship with Paul Rogers, who's the GM. We played together at Bridgewater. We talked about this position, and I liked what Sir John had in place as the owner. And, I believe in Paul and him. So I applied for the job and got it. So that's kind of how I got here.
So, yeah, you're correct. We did interview Paul a couple of weeks ago. I was curious, what kind of input do you have with the players that get selected for the team? Did you have any input in that, or was that, something that Paul basically, formed the team and then you just do the coaching piece of it?
No, it's a collaborative effort. I mean, obviously he has the final say, but, Sir John had his thoughts. I had my thoughts. And then, whatever decision he wanted to make, he made.
All right. So obviously, open wounds right now, but the loss last night. How do you feel the team played overall? I mean, I know the first quarter they looked like they were on fire and were coming out with some energy. Seemed to lose a little bit of that in the second quarter, and then the third and fourth quarters just couldn't gain it back. Was there anything that you saw that happened in that game?
Oh, yeah. I watched it today. You guys did a great job on your call of the game.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
But we just didn't defend the way you needed to defend, especially the guard that they had, number 4, was really good. We made a halftime adjustment. Yeah, we made a halftime adjustment where we decided to trap him. It was a little bit effective. But not a lot. I mean, anytime a guy drops close to 50 points on you, you're not going to win. So defend from a defensive standpoint, that was an issue. I think I statted it, and they shot like over 60% from the field. And then it seemed like every time they missed, they got an offensive rebound. So if you can't defend and you can't rebound, you're not going to win basketball games. So hopefully we'll be better tomorrow night in those two areas. From an offensive standpoint, we haven't had a lot of practice time recently. We had a workout Wednesday night. We need to get the ball inside more, and that's on me. And that will be an emphasis going into the game tomorrow. And if guys aren't getting the ball inside, they're going to start finding more time on the bench. So that's going to be a focus. We just need to get the ball inside and take advantage of our size, and those guys are shooting a great percentage when they get it. So they're going to get it more tomorrow night.
So what would you say your style of basketball is? Because we saw a couple different, like they started to work it out, inside, but then we saw a lot of outside shooting, late in the game, obviously with the deficit. But what would you say your particular style of basketball is? So if the fans were watching, what's Mark Gaffney's style? My style has got to be a little bit adjusted because I'm getting used to the pro game. I'm a very disciplined, organized, structured coach. We haven't had the practice time to put in a system of play that I would like to have. We got some things in. I mean, obviously on defense, I want to be a hard-nosed, man-to-man defensive team that rebounds and challenges people. We weren't that last night. Offensively, I like to play fast. I like to give players the freedom to do what they do well, but you also have to have some type of, organization and structure. So it's not really like a free-for-all out there. So at times, we played a team from New York a couple of weeks ago. We looked really good
at times on offense, and we held them to 82 points, and they were ranked in the ABA rankings for, so they were a good team, and we played well. We just we hadn't had a game in 2 weeks. I don't want to make excuses, but we had a couple of workouts, but we just need to get in a gym and practice. So hopefully we'll play well tomorrow, and then we'll get back at it Wednesday, and we'll work on some things that we're just not doing well.
So one of the players that stood out to us was Tyree Robinson. Seemed like he definitely brought some energy. Just overall, what can you tell the fans about Tyree?
Tyree has been excellent in every game. He was perfect from the field in his first game. In the second game, he's excellent in transition. He's excellent rebounding, both defensively and offensively. And he's just a playmaker. He makes plays. He's really athletic. He's hard to stop when he gets the ball at the 3-point line and decides to get to the basket. He's got a decent post-up game. I mean, he's worth coming to watch play. Obviously we have a limited amount of fans, but we have some home games coming up. So if you really want to watch someone who has a chance to play professional basketball, which I think he will sooner than later.
Once again, if you're joining us, we're on the Dr. Fix-It hotline with the head coach of the Providence Pirates, Mark Gaffney. Mark, I would just I noticed during the game that a couple of your players, they were getting a little in some little scuffles, and I noticed you pulled them right to the bench. Is that something you do purposely just to kind of calm them down, or was that just happened to be a coincidence?
When I was a head coach in high school, I always said, hey, you get a technical, you're coming out of the game. That's just, losing your poise. And that's not where, one thing that Sir John has instructed us is we have to be professional at all times. And that's just the way it should be. And when you're getting technical fouls, for whatever reason, you may even be right. That's just not professional. You just don't get technicals. We lost by 10 last night. We had 2 technicals, and I think they made a total of 4 foul shots. So you take 10 minus 4 is 6 points. That's 2 possessions. So, but like I said, I don't want to be negative, but to answer your question, yes, when they got a technical, they're coming out of the game, and they're going to have a talk with me, and then I'll decide when they go back in.
Yeah, no, it made sense. And it's something I noticed right away. It was pretty funny. Well, so last question, Mark. I did want to ask you, I know you had coaching at Xavier University, and I was curious as to, I know you had players James Posey and David West. So when they were playing for you, did you notice, that they were going to be NBA talents? Was there something different about those 2 players that you could kind of see?
Well, James, really came on late in his career at Xavier. He was just so athletic and so long. And he just did a lot of things. He was very versatile on the defensive end. In the NBA game, that translates because he could guard a lot of people. So when he graduated, myself and Coach Battle, who's the associate head coach at Providence College, we put him through a lot of NBA workouts in the spring so he could get better offensively. And I believe he was a late teens draft choice. I'm not sure what team, but he had a great NBA career. I believe he was a 2-time NBA champion with the Heat and the Celtics. And I know he was coaching with the Cavs. I'm not sure if he's coaching now, but he was just so versatile as a defensive player, and he could guard. And then when he got his offensive game and his jump shot, he had a great NBA career. David West, I didn't know he was going to be a pro. He was a freshman when I was at Xavier, but he had an unbelievable work ethic. Like, he always wanted to be in the gym. He was a sponge. Like, you could never throw enough workouts at him, drills. He always wanted to be in the gym. He always wanted to get better. And that's why he was a great pro too. I mean, his work ethic was second to none. And he was just hungry. He was really, really hungry. And you could tell that at a young age.
Thank you, Mark. Mark, I appreciate the insight tonight. I want to thank you for joining Sports Unfolded on the Dr. Fix-It hotline. We see many wins in your future. Believe me, you got a good team over there. So
yeah, hopefully we'll play well. It's all about the players. Believe me, coaching's overrated. You got to have good players that play well.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think the coach has a piece on that. And you definitely have shown your mark. So we appreciate you having us and being on the show tonight. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining us.
All right. Have a good weekend.
All right. You take care. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. That was Mark Gaffney, the head coach of the Providence Pirates.
That was great.
Yeah, we had a really good time last night, calling the game. And I think he's heading in the right direction, and I don't think it was an excuse, more practice, more time where he can get his processes.
No, and what he's doing is he's really analyzing for next season because it's all exhibitions this year. So he's putting players in certain positions, trying to figure out where they are as a team and as individual players and trying to assess it for next year.
So I think, they're doing some good things there in Providence. Sir John, the owner there, he, you can definitely tell he's got the right mindset of how to run a professional team. And I think they'll get where they need to get to sooner than later. Let's talk some NBA since we're still on the basketball kick right now. Some key injuries that have come down recently. LaMelo Ball was a Rookie of the Year candidate, season-ending hand injury, and then LeBron James with the leg, ankle, and a high ankle sprain. So, I mean, that changes the MVP race. I would believe LeBron was actually favored, and Vegas odds actually had him favored to win the MVP. Jokic is second. Does that injury to LeBron push Jokic to the top of the MVP race?
I mean, I would say yes, because high ankle sprain, we don't know when he's coming back. Like, that's not an injury that's to be taken lightly.
That could bother him the rest of the season.
It could. And this, again, why I led to that Denver could be the team.
So they picked up the pieces they needed. Jokic gets more.
So I would actually think that LeBron will not get that MVP. And
Jokic,
I mean,
is a favorite. I would
say so.
How about the happiest person probably in the NBA is Anthony Edwards, who was the number 1 overall pick from Minnesota. I mean, his season's been okay, but with this injury to Ball, basically catapults him to the Rookie of the Year. I think he gets it by default, which is a shame because I think LaMelo Ball, you can see the potential for this kid to be a superstar. So hopefully he comes back healthy next season. Let's move on to the NHL because this one was really interesting to me. NHL fires referee Tim Peel after a hot mic captures him saying wanted to call a penalty. And the exact words that it wasn't much, but I wanted to give an expletive penalty against Nashville early. This ref has been in the NHL since 1999.
Yeah,
over 1,300 games, 90 playoff games.
Look,
how concerning is it?
I don't think it's that concerning. Do I think he should have been fired? Maybe not, but I can understand it because you don't want that out there.
So I wish this was a face-off because I 100% disagree with you, and I'm going to tell you why. Because referees should take emotions out of games. They are there not to make decisions as to whether they want to penalize now.
Absolutely.
Call the game the way it should be called. That was a disgrace to me. That's no better than fixing games when I can't even remember the referee in the NBA, Timothy something.
It's a makeup kind of thing. But we know that goes on,
and that happens
with every sport.
And it's not right.
And it isn't right.
So we're condoning it now.
No, I think he should have been suspended. I don't know how long.
He was retiring after the season anyway.
Well,
so
then if he was retiring, then that's the right move.
I just think he didn't take emotions out of the game, and unfortunately,
no, and he didn't, and he said something stupid, and it was terrible.
As fans, we count on those officials and referees to make decisions based on what's happening, not based on your emotion.
But we see this all the time in the games. It's like you get a penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty, but they call it. So they call another one on the other team.
I've watched plenty of games where I said, I would have thrown a flag there, and it's sometimes to help my team. So, again, that's me being emotional, but I'm a fan.
It shouldn't be like that. Yeah. So, it shouldn't be like that.
I disagreed on you with that one, but again, let's. If you are just joining us, we're on Rhode Island Broadcasting, YouTube, Facebook. You can look us up on Twitter and Facebook at Sports Unfolded. Instagram, sports_unfolded. Let's see what we want to move on to. Let's talk a little NCAA basketball. So the Big Ten had 9 teams get in, and there's only 1 team remaining, Michigan. Pac-12 had 5 teams, 4 is still remaining. So what does that say about the Big Ten?
Well, what it says is not a whole lot. Like, it doesn't say much for the Big Ten. It's like, yeah, they can make it in there, but what are they going to do?
So
nothing.
They had a really good regular season, and
it doesn't matter.
You don't win any awards for
who are they
regular
playing.
Season.
You know, it's like if they're playing a bunch of games against each other and they're all marginal teams. So what does that mean? It means that they're all marginal teams and they're going to get bounced right away.
I think people, especially, sleep on the West and the Western teams because, again, I think it's more biased towards East Coast. And you can see there's better teams in the West, and probably some teams got left out.
Some of those teams shouldn't have been in.
Yeah. So, Sweet 16. Who do you got going to the finals?
Oh, I got Gonzaga.
Gonzaga versus?
Baylor.
Baylor. I like Gonzaga versus Michigan. I got Gonzaga winning it. They're going to go undefeated.
Yeah, I have Gonzaga.
I'd like to see them go undefeated.
Michigan.
It hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they can come back and bite themselves. I mean, we've seen it a lot. Like, they've been good for a while now and just crumble somewhere along the line. And
it's always so.
So it would not surprise me if they didn't. I think they're the better team, and I think they will do it this year.
I would guarantee the NCAA wants them because it's a great story for people to want to watch to see if they can do it.
Yeah.
I think that would help them. So we'll have to see how that turns out. Obviously, next week we'll discuss a little more about the NCAA.
But that Illinois team, though, huh? I had them in the Final Four, but
a lot of sleepers. Loyola, Chicago, right? And then there's the 15th seed. So it's really interesting to see that in the Sweet 16. That's what the tournament is all about. I'm glad it's back. It's fun.
So where are we standing on that? Like, I think I'm a little ahead of you, right?
You're a little ahead of me right now.
Yeah.
41-34. All right.
Yeah.
You see, he's always trying to win. Always.
Well, yeah, of course.
Always.
Because most of the times I do.
You know, the one thing you don't win is a pick and roll.
Yeah, I haven't done very well. But that'll change.
The pick and roll.
It's still early.
Before we go to the pick and roll, face-off will be so if any fans want to vote, chime in. We'd appreciate any input you want to give us. Will the Boston Celtics make the playoffs this season? Will be our face-off. So think about it, who you'd like to vote for or against. And then we will make sure that as the votes get cast, we'll chime in on the face-off with who won. But let's go to the pick and roll. Pick and roll is about which of these 4 NBA teams has the best chance to reach the playoffs. So all 4 of these teams are the 9th and 10th seeds right now, and there will be a play-in game this season in the NBA. So 7 and 8 will play each other. 9 and 10 will play each other. The winner of the 9-10 will play the winner of 7-8. So basically the teams are the Chicago Bulls, the Indiana Pacers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Memphis Grizzlies. You went first last week, so I'll go first this week. Basically, we'll go 4-1. I've got the 4th best team is going to be the Pacers. So they got Brogdon, they got Sabonis. I think they got good balance, but they are pretty stagnant when it comes to offense and defense. They're about even, 113 points they're giving up, and they're scoring. So I could see that being, questionable as if they had enough. Grizzly at number 3. I like Ja Morant. I think the kid's going to be a superstar, one of those names that we're going to be talking about soon, and he'll be that one-name player, Ja. We'll just call him Ja. Averaging 19, almost 10 assists a game. Question with them is, can they score enough points? They only have 111 points per game. They're giving up 110. So out of all the 4 teams, they're the better defensive team, believe it or not, at 110 points. but they're going to have to face the Warriors to get into that 7-8 game. I don't see them getting past the Warriors. Got the Bulls as the second best team. Zach LaVine, I love the Vucevic pickup. I think that kind of helps them. I think the East, if you look at the 7-8 teams, Boston's one of those teams. I mean, they don't scare me. The Knicks, they don't scare me enough where I can't say the Bulls couldn't beat them if needed to be. And then my number one, Warriors, they have the most experience. The key there is going to be if they stay healthy. So Steph Curry actually has been hurt, and you can see them slip off. Overall, if you look at it, they still got Draymond Green. They still understand how to win the big games. So if those two pieces are there, I feel like they're the best team. Ron?
Well, I looked at this a little differently. A lot
as you would.
First of all, in the West. First of all, in the West, that's a pretty good 1 through 8 right now. I don't see either of the two teams being able to creep up there, except for maybe the Warriors.
One game.
The Warriors, yes, the Warriors can creep back up into that top 8 and get in, and have to play that play-in game. And that's what I'm thinking. They are going to creep up, but the Grizzlies are number 4 because they are not going to be able to beat any of the other teams in a play-in to get in. And I think the Grizzlies are out at number 4. They will not get in. That leaves the Bulls at number 3 because I don't think they're going to be able to overtake the Celtics or the Knicks or anybody else that's in there.
I need to know what's in his water bottle. We got to test this.
But they can win a 1-game play-in against any of those teams. So with LaVine, like you said, I think he can have a monster game against, say, the Celtics in a play-in and can actually beat them because we know the Celtics like to make people all-stars. Number 2, I have the Pacers because I do think they're going to overtake the Celtics.
Okay. I see where you're going.
So I believe number 2 and number 3, the Pacers and the Bulls could both get in. They can both get in. So, and I think the Pacers will. Bulls are a question. But like I said, they can beat I was going to say the Patriots, but they can beat the Celtics.
Yeah, they could try. I mean, hey, that'd be worth watching.
But I think the Bulls have a shot with LaVine if he goes off.
And speaking of shot, I think that was a shot at Cam Newton because Cam Newton probably couldn't beat the Pacers, is what you're saying.
Number 1, because I think they are going to definitely get in. I think they're going to creep up into that number 8 spot.
So once again, I won that face off as usual.
No, you didn't.
And the fans that are out there watching, we appreciate. We are live on Rhode Island Broadcasting here at Sports Unfolded. Reach out. Let us know who you felt won the pick and roll or how those 4 teams in any particular order. Let's go on to the NFL. So really interesting. Which team will win the East? So we put up a Twitter poll and a Facebook poll on Sports Unfolded. On the Twitter poll, Washington was favored to win the NFC East, and 86% said no, the Giants would not win the NFC East. How do you feel? What team are we going here?
I think this division just is awful. And they showed that last season. Dak Prescott, probably the best quarterback in that group, obviously.
With the worst team, or one of the worst teams.
Right. So what does that mean? Pretty much nothing. I think Washington still has the better team, if you can say that. I'm going with Washington in that division. I mean, a lot can change between now and the beginning of the season, but I think that division's just total crap.
So it was interesting. One of our fans that watches the show, Mcgee Finn, actually had suggested this. He brought it up to my attention about the New York Giants and some of the moves they made in the offseason so far with the free agent pickups.
Right.
And at first I was like, it's the Giants. And it's Daniel Jones, and I'm not sure, quarterback-wise.
On Jones.
But then I started to look at it. Dak in Dallas, what does he really have? right? Their offensive line is still questionable. Their defense was one of the worst. They ranked 28th defensively last season.
Terrible.
Philly, they signed Joe Flacco. Still question marks with Jalen Hurts. Is he going to be the quarterback? And there's no talent around them at all. I think that team's, bottom barrel. So that I'm looking at Philly worst, Dallas. Washington could be an interesting team, but Fitzpatrick as their quarterback, I'm not sold on Fitzy magic. We've seen it in the past where, he'll have those really good games and then he'll have that really bad game. They picked up Curtis Samuel, who's a very good wide receiver. But again, if we can't get the ball to him, it doesn't really help. They had the 4th ranked defense. So defensively, they're the best team in that division.
Right. That's what I'm going on.
But offensively, they were 28th. Right. Miami last season with Fitzpatrick, and I know they split some time with Tua, but they were 18th. So I don't see a huge jump with Fitzpatrick.
No.
The New York Giants, I feel, could win this division.
Can, but again, it's like I'm not sold on Jones.
So Leonard Williams, they re-signed. Kenny Galladay, Andre Jackson, Kyle Judge. If you see the kind of quality, I was coaching move by the Giants early, and as you saw the season progress, you could just see how that team played disciplined. Again, a little more talent, which I think they've established they got this offseason.
Yeah, and they could run away with the division.
I think they're the best team in the division. I think the New York Giants. So all those 86% of the fans that voted on Facebook that said there's no way, there is clearly. I believe it's between Washington and the Giants, and I think the Giants have the edge.
Yeah, I don't think Dallas and Philly they don't have a chance. Like it's clearly between New York and Washington. It's clearly, and it's close. I like what the Giants did. I really do, but I'm not sold on Jones. I don't think he's a good quarterback, and Washington isn't. Then they're no better quarterback position either. But they do have a great defense, and that's why I think Washington.
And let's not forget about the Giants, though. Barkley comes back.
Yes.
So that's big.
That's like signing a new player.
So you get Barkley back. You get Galladay wide out.
Yeah.
Right? You got
Kyle
Rudolph at tight end. Daniel Jones, if he takes that little leap, the Giants, I'm convincing myself more and more as I'm talking about this, that's the best team in the NFC East. There's no question. I don't know what these fans are looking at. If you want to tell me how Fitzpatrick is going to be the savior that carries the Washington offense to the promised land, I challenge that every day of the week.
They should have actually stood pat with their quarterback situation, or really tried to.
Who's still out there? Alex Smith hasn't been signed yet, which is pretty.
I would rather. I actually wouldn't be upset if Alex Smith signed with the Patriots.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. But I would not be upset.
That brings us to this next topic. So in the NFL, there was a major trade a few hours ago, and pretty interesting. The San Francisco 49ers actually moved up to the 3rd spot. Miami traded that pick away, moved down to 12. Then moved back up to the 6th spot with Philadelphia. San Francisco has already come on and stated on record, John Lynch, their general manager, stated exactly that they are going to draft a quarterback. So what does this mean for Jimmy G? What does this mean for the New England Patriots? I know we're going to drudge this up again, but I feel like it needs to be discussed.
Well, with San Francisco getting that 3rd spot, it's clear what they want.
Well, they've stated it.
Right.
Lynch came out and stated it.
It's clear.
He said it. It's going to be a quarterback. Which quarterback? Who knows?
Where is Jimmy going is basically the question.
So there was basically how he put it was that Jimmy's still their guy.
So he's going to go back to the Patriots for a 2nd round pick.
But he's taking calls. What does that mean?
That means he's hoping somebody like Carolina.
Somebody makes an offer.
Washington.
Other than New England.
Could be Washington. How about Washington? Imagine that.
It's a possibility. But you're looking at the Jets as well. Donald's still there and possibly could be traded. And they're the 2nd pick overall. So a good shot grabbing a quarterback as well. There's still going to be some movement with these quarterbacks that hasn't happened.
It's already been a crazy offseason. And you still have teams that are trying to shuffle quarterbacks around and trying to get
Still
that
looking,
guy.
yeah.
And it's crazy.
Less
at
than a
this
month
point.
from the draft, or about a
It's
month from the draft,
crazy.
right? And you're saying, how does this make any sense? But what does this ultimately mean for the New England Patriots? Should they go after Jimmy G? I mean, does that make sense for them?
I think it makes sense. I mean, what could it hurt?
So I'm going to ask you this question: who's your backup? Is it Cam Newton, or is it Jarrett Stidham? So that's what you've got to look at, because ultimately, I think the biggest problem, we've talked about it in the past, is can he stay healthy? Can he stay on the field? He hasn't proven he can.
Right. And again, that is the problem. What do you do if you sign Jimmy G? Do you go into camp with 3 quarterbacks and let the pieces fall where they may? And is everybody going to get a fair shot at that position?
I look at it this way, though. I mean, 2 of the quarterbacks clearly have about the same mechanics, same style. And then you're going to have a 3rd quarterback in Cam Newton who's a completely different style. You can't keep Cam, or you can't get Jimmy and keep Cam. But then that means Jarrett Stidham's your backup. And we haven't seen anything positive out of Jarrett Stidham to make me believe that when Jimmy G goes down, he can come in and win you 4 or 5 games.
At this point, with the team the way it is, I think 2nd in the East, maybe even possibly overtaking Buffalo, just because that defense is going to be solid.
It is.
And let's face it, that offense is looking pretty decent right now, no matter who's at quarterback. If you stand pat with what you have and you don't go after Jimmy G, you draft a quarterback. And that could be what is the ultimate deciding factor for Bill. Like, he might actually pull the trigger and try to get a quarterback to back up Cam Newton and learn. Maybe not from Cam himself, but from Belichick.
So I think we're going to see what kind of quarterback they can draft. Again, is it the same style as Cam? Is that the offense that New England wants to get to?
So, in my opinion, I think Jimmy G stays in San Francisco until draft day. And then wherever Bill Belichick is drafting, that will ultimately decide where Jimmy G lands.
Currently we're 15th in the 1st round. If they won't trade the 1st round draft pick, it's 2nd, 3rd, maybe a 3rd for Jimmy at this point. I can't see them making this move. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't fit. Unless you're going to trade Cam as well, you back to maybe to San Fran as a kind of a swap, because I just don't see how the styles would match.
I don't think they're going to have both Garoppolo and Cam.
Yeah,
I don't think that's
you can't have both of those offenses or try to run 2 different style offenses.
No,
because I mean, we already know Jimmy's going down, so I can't guarantee it. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what San Fran was doing. Miami is making some great moves here. I mean, they were 10-6 last season, almost made the playoffs. I mean, Flores is doing a great job down there. If Tua can,
he's a good coach.
If Tua can play,
it's a big loss for the Patriots.
Oh, it was, and it's hard to fill.
It is.
Matt Patricia though back. I don't know. He didn't do so well in Detroit.
Yeah, but
it's Detroit. Matthew Stafford's going to be a superstar this year with the Rams. So, and we're all of us are going to just cake on our face.
Oh my God. I'll see.
We'll have to see how that pans out as well.
The East is going to be interesting this year, because we don't.
There is no clear cut.
There's a lot of uncertainty with 2 quarterbacks. Yeah,
two is question mark.
Jets, Patriots.
Jets, we don't even know. Yeah, Jets. We have no idea what the Jets are doing right now.
Yeah, so it's like, what's going to come along for those 2 teams to better themselves from what they have right now? Is there really going to be that big of an upgrade at this point? I mean,
that's why
it's either Garoppolo or draft pick, and whatever the 2. I mean, you never know what they're going to do.
It doesn't matter at this point. I mean, it's the Jets.
Yeah.
I would have to stay, and I know I've made this argument several times on the show itself, but Cam Newton should be the starting quarterback at this point,
and he probably will be.
It just makes sense. They re-signed James White.
Eric, I'm not a Cam Newton fan,
Yeah,
but
I don't think
I'm
many
looking
people
at
are.
the team, and that team is solid
Yes.
everywhere except for quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's solid. So, I mean, you look at it logically, they have to improve. Like, they have to. I mean, if you improve 4 games, you could possibly win that division.
Yeah, I think Buffalo takes a step back, a small step. I mean, I really haven't seen them do much in the offseason. I mean, they've got some really good quarterback play out of Allen.
Is that Tim calling?
That may be Tim. Tim, thanks for joining us tonight on Sports Unfolded. We appreciate it. Tim, our number 1 fan, by the way. If those that don't know, Tim, you've been on every show. We appreciate you. But it'll be interesting to see Miami. It'll be interesting just to see how this pans out. I don't see New England being the 3rd best team in that division anymore. I think it's going to be a race for first throughout the whole year. So
it's going to be a good season.
Draft's going to be key for all the teams,
right?
Because I think New England doesn't really need any pieces now, which is pretty crazy to say. So whatever
that's why I'm leaning towards them drafting a quarterback and having them sit.
And think about this: you can draft a quarterback early if you want, have them sit, learn behind. You can draft some defensive guys. You can to make the playoffs, and who's voting against? Against. Who went first last week? Do you remember?
I believe it was you.
You want to go first?
Yeah,
okay.
why not?
So you're for the Celtics making the playoffs.
I am for the Celtics to make the playoffs. I think I kind of just said that they might not. But
whenever you're ready.
All right. So Celtics, they make a small move to get. I know this is a team that should have finished in the top 4 in that division. I even think it should have been named 2nd. But they floundered all year long. Well, maybe they're going to turn that light switch on, and they're in 8th right now. I mean, there's not a whole lot below them. So even if they maintain, they're going to get in. So if they play 500 ball the rest of the way, they're going to get in. And I think that they can do more. We know they can do more. We know Tatum can do more. We know Brown can do more. And if Walker starts to put in the basket, regularly, that is more. And then you have guys like Smart and if they get back to that defense, they can do some damage, and they can actually climb 3 or 4 spots.
Time. So what can Brown do for you is what you're saying. All right. I like it. So whenever I'm ready, I'm against the Celtics making the playoffs. So I heard your arguments. I think they have the talent. I think they haven't proven consistently that they can win. I think they phased out Brad Stevens at this point, and you can see it just on the play. Watching them Wednesday night against Milwaukee and how they showed no heart until the 4th quarter. And even that, it was more of Milwaukee just fell apart more than Boston was playing hard. The trade at the deadline didn't impress me enough to say that they are going to be any better. It's not moving the needle. It doesn't. Some of the deficiencies was rebounding. Fournier's not doing that for you.
falling to that point?
I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's Clara's day.
I think you're dreaming.